Hey guys, today we will be learning about Badami Chalukyas from early medieval Indian history. Let's explore about their legacy. And more importantly, this will cover all the important points from an exam point of view, along with other key details. Introduction and historical significance. The Chalukyas of Badami represent a pivotal dynasty in Karnataka and Indian history, marking the transition from smaller kingdoms to large empires in the Deccan region. Ruling from 543 CE to 753 CE, they established their capital at Vatapi, that is modern Badami, in the Bijapur district of Karnataka and controlled vast territories spanning present-day Karnataka, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and parts of Tamil Nadu. Origins and early history. The dynasty's significance lies in their role as successors to the Vaktakas in the western Deccan and their contribution to unifying South India under a centralized imperial structure. This period marked a golden age for Karnataka, characterized by remarkable cultural, architectural, and administrative achievements that influenced many dynasties for centuries. According to copper plate records, the Chalukya dynasty traces its origins to a vassal of the Kadamba kings. The dynasty's founder was Jayasimha, though the real independent sovereign was his successor. Pulakeshin I, his reign from 543 to 566 CE. He is regarded as the real founder of the Chalukya dynasty and its first sovereign ruler. His major achievements include establishment of Vatapi. In 543 to 544 CE, he fortified the hill near Badami or Vatapi and established it as his capital. Ashwamedha sacrifice. Performed the prestigious horse sacrifice to assert his sovereign status and independence. Territorial expansion. Conquered territories from the Kadambas and established control over parts of modern Karnataka and Maharashtra. Political stability. Reigned for over 20 years, providing a stable foundation for future expansion. Royal titles. Assumed titles like Valbeshwara and Sri Vallabha. Kirtivarman I. The son of Pulakeshin I, Kirtivarman I significantly expanded his father's kingdom. He defeated the Kadambas of Banvasi, Nalas of Bastar, and Mauryas of Konkan. Territorial gains. Extended Chalukya control over large portions of Maharashtra. He strengthened the administrative framework and prepared the ground for the dynasty's golden age. Cultural patronage. Supported temple construction and religious institutions. The Aihole inscription describes Kirtivarman as the Knight of Doom for the Nalas, Mauryas, and Kadambas, highlighting his military prowess. Mangalesha, from 597 to 609 CE. He was brother of Kirtivarman I, succeeded him as regent. Territorial extension. Extended Chalukya control from Gujarat to Bellary. Internal conflict. His reign ended in conflict with his nephew Pulakeshin II, who overthrew him to claim the throne. Religious patronage. Made land grants to temples, as evidenced by the Mahakuta pillar inscription. The Golden Age. Pulakeshin II from 609 to 642 CE. Pulakeshin II, also known as Immudi Pulakeshin or Eriamma, stands as the most illustrious ruler of the Badami Chalukyas and one of the greatest emperors of medieval India. Coming to his military achievements. His victory over Harshavardhana from 618 to 619 CE, the most celebrated military achievement of Pulakeshin's second defeat of Emperor Harshavardhana on the banks of the Narmada River. Recent research by the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute dates this battle to the winter of 618 to 619 CE. Significance. This victory prevented Harsha's southern expansion and established the Narmada as the boundary between North and South India. Contemporary accounts. The Chinese pilgrim Xuanzang documented this event, stating that Harsha was unable to subjugate him. Aihole inscription. The poet Ravikirti recorded that Harsha's joy, Harsha, melted away by fear, having become loathsome with his rows of elephants fallen in battle. Title awarded. After this victory, Pulakeshin II assumed the title of Dakshinapdishwara, Lord of the South, and Parmeswar, his conquests in various directions. According to the Aihole inscription of 634 to 635 CE, Pulakeshin II's military campaigns extended in all directions. Southern campaigns defeated the Gangas of South Mysore, subjugated the Alupas, and initially gained victories over the Pallavas, forcing King Mahendravarman I to accept his suzerainty. Western expansion defeated Mauryas of Konkana and consolidated control over the western coast. Northern victories subjugated the Latas, Malwas, and Gurjaras in the north. Eastern conquests conquered Dakshina Kosal and Kalinga, and defeated the Vishnau Kundins. Trans-Kaveri expedition advanced across the Kaveri river and compelled the Chola, Kerala, Chera, and Pandya rulers to acknowledge his supremacy. His administrative innovations includes appointment of viceroy. In 624 CE, appointed his brother Kubja Vishnuvardhana as viceroy of Vengi, Eastern Deccan, which later developed into the independent Eastern Chalukya dynasty. Decentralized governance implemented an effective system of provincial administration to manage the vast empire. Pulakeshin II maintained diplomatic relations with foreign powers. Persian embassy received envoys from Persian King Khusru II, as depicted in Ajanta cave paintings. Cultural exchange fostered international trade and cultural connections with West Asia. Religiously, he was Vaishnavat Hindu. Though a Vaishnavat, Pulakeshin II was tolerant toward Buddhism and Jainism. Patronage supported Jain scholars, including the poet Ravikirti, who composed the Aihole inscription. Despite his glorious reign, Pulakeshin II met a tragic end, his defeat and death in 642 CE. Pallav retaliation. Narasimhavarman or Mamala of the Pallavas launched a massive counterattack to avenge his father Mahendravarman I's earlier defeats. Battle of Vatapi. In 642 CE, the Pallav general Paranjoti led forces that defeated the Chalukyas in 3 battles at Pariyala, Surmana, and Manimangala. Fall of Badami. Pulakeshin II was presumed to have died defending his capital, which the Pallavas captured and occupied for 12 to 13 years from 642 to 654 CE. Narasimhavarman first earned the title Vatapikonda, conqueror of Vatapi. Vikramaditya first ruled from 655 to 681 CE. After a period of darkness following Pulakeshin II's death, Vikramaditya first restored Chalukya glory. Recapture of Vatapi. His most significant achievement was driving out the Pallavas and reclaiming the Chalukya capital around 654 to 655 CE. Pallav campaigns plundered Kanchipuram, the Pallav capital, in retaliation. Southern expansion conquered and merged territories of the Chola, Pandya, and Chera kingdoms. Royal titles adopted grand titles including Maharaja Dhiraja, King of Great Kings, Satyashraya, Raj Dhiraja, and Rana Rasika, Lover of War. Cultural contributions promoted art, culture, and temple construction. Later successors. Following Vikramaditya I, several capable rulers maintained Chalukya power. Vijayaditya I from 696 to 733 CE consolidated the empire and maintained stability. Inscription evidence. The Mahakuta inscription by Vinpoti, a concubine of Vijayaditya, dates from 696 to 733 CE. Vikramaditya II from 733 to 744 CE emerged as another powerful ruler. Captured the Pallav capital Kanchipuram on 3 occasions, once as crown prince, once as emperor, and once under his son Kirtivarman II's leadership. Virupaksh temple inscription. The inscription reads, Shri Vikramaditya Bhattararmume Kanchiyamume Parjisidor. Shri Vikramaditya, who conquered Kachi 3 times. Architectural patronage. His queens Loka Devi and Trilok Devi consecrated the famous Virupaksh temple and Mallikarjun temple at Pattadakallu, now UNESCO World Heritage Monuments. Marriage alliance. Entered into marriage alliance with Rashtrakutas to maintain peace. Revenge motive. Historians believe he nursed a grudge against the Pallavas for their earlier humiliation of the Chalukyas under Narsinghavarman I. Kirtivarman II from 746 to 753 CE. Kirtivarman II, also known as Rahappa, was the last king of the Badami Chalukya dynasty. Challenges and decline of the dynasty. External pressures. Faced continuous pressure from the rising Rashtrakutas under Dantidurga in the north and the Pandyas under Maravarman Rajasimha I in the south. Battle of Venbai, 750 CE suffered a major defeat at the hands of the Pandya king Rajasimha at Venbai on the banks of the Kaveri river. Isolation. Dantidurga conquered the northern provinces and surrounded the Chalukyas by taking Telugu provinces, Kalinga, and Kosala kingdoms. Pallav alliance. Dantidurga formed an alliance with Pallav Nandivarman II, further isolating Kirtivarman II. Final defeat in 753 CE. Rashtrakuta conquest. In 753 CE, Dantidurga, a former feudatory of the Chalukyas, defeated Kirtivarman II decisively. This marked the end of the Badami Chalukya dynasty after more than 200 years of rule. Dantidurga took the titles of Rajdhiraja and Parmeshwara after his victory. The Ellora inscription and Samangadha copper plate grant, 753 CE, confirm that Dantidurga defeated the great Carnatic army of the Badami Chalukyas. Administratively, the Chalukyas of Badami developed a sophisticated administrative structure that influenced subsequent South Indian dynasties. Central administration. The king as supreme authority. The king was the apex of the administrative hierarchy and the highest judicial authority. Actively participated in governance and military campaigns. The Chalukya monarchy was hereditary, controlled and guided by the chief priest and council of ministers. Titles. Kings assumed high-sounding titles like Parmama Bhattarka, Maharaja Dhiraja, and Parmeshwar. Council of ministers had. The chief or prime minister was called Mahamatya. Also the ministers who advised the king and assisted in administration. Territorially, the empire was organized into a hierarchical administrative structure. The first was Maharashtrakas or provinces. The empire was divided into provinces. Then Rashtras or regions where provinces were subdivided into Rashtras or Mandalas. Vishyas or districts which formed the next level of administration. Nadus or subdistricts were smaller administrative units. And Bhogas were groups of 10 villages as similar to the Dasagrama used by Kadambas. Local administration had village officials like Grampohis and Gramkudas who were responsible for local governance. Nala Kavundas were traditional revenue officials of villages. Kamunda or Pokiga were important in village administration and were appointed by the kings. Mahapurush were responsible for maintaining order and peace in the village. And Gavundas were key officials for tax collection. The Chalukyas exercised paternalistic control over village administration, which was unlike the normal administrative practice in South India, where villages had more autonomy. This centralized approach ensured effective governance across vast territories. Coming to military organization. The Chalukya military was well organized and formidable. They had infantry, cavalry horse units, elephant corps and a powerful navy. Naval power. Pulakeshin II maintained a fleet of 100 ships, establishing naval dominance on the western coast. Had naval commands. Established naval headquarters at Revtidvipa or modern Reddy for South Konkan and Goa. Southeast Asian expeditions, naval expeditions were planned and launched to Southeast Asia, reaching as far as Cambodia during Vinyaditya's reign. Hereditary troops. They maintained six-fold forces including hereditary troops with spotless charis, hundreds of flags, and umbrellas. Economic system, that is revenue and taxation. The primary source of state income was land revenue from agriculture. Taxes were levied on agriculture, mining, forest products, trade and commerce, tolls and fees, additional income from tolls for transportation facilities, customs duties, professional licenses, and judicial fines. Limited autonomy. As a plateau kingdom, land revenue was somewhat limited, necessitating reliance on military expansion and trade. Coming to agriculture and irrigation. Agriculture as economic backbone. Agriculture formed the foundation of the economy, with the majority engaged in farming. And irrigation systems. Developed sophisticated irrigation infrastructure including tanks, wells, and canals. Crop diversity. Cultivated rice, wheat, millet, pulses, sugarcane, and cotton. Agricultural surplus sustained urban populations and fueled trade. Trade and commerce included domestic and international trade. The Chalukyas' control of South India's west coast facilitated extensive maritime trade. Maintained trade relations with Persia, Arabia, Southeast Asia, Tang Empire of China, and Java. Exported precious stones, spices, medicinal plants, jewels, ivory, rhino horn, ebony, camphor, textiles, and perfumes. And imported horses, salt, and metals like copper and silver. Merchant guilds or shrenis. Merchant guilds played a vital role in facilitating trade and commerce. Structured framework, that is, guilds had established regulations and administrative frameworks. Also Veera Bananjudharma, who fiercely protected trade obligations under the law of noble merchants. Prashasti inscriptions, that is, guild members recorded their achievements in over 500 excavated inscriptions. Almost all arts and crafts were organized into guilds. The Badami Chalukyas issued distinctive coins. Standard weight. Gold coins typically weighed around 4 grams. The primary gold coin called Honnu in Old Kannada. Fana or Fanam or Hana and quarter Fana were fractional denominations. A gold coin called Gadyana, later known as Varha, featured on their emblem. Coins featured Nagari and Kannada inscriptions. Depicted temples, lion or boar, Varha, facing right, lotus motifs, and scepters. The boar, Varha, served as the royal symbol appearing on numismatic designs. First gold coins in South India. Pulakeshin II was the first king to issue gold coins in South India. Social structure and class hierarchy. Feudal structure. Society was organized around a clear hierarchy with the emperor at the apex, followed by feudatory rulers. Brahmins occupied a privileged position as educators, priests, and arbiters in local disputes, panchayat. Merchant class. Wealthy traders contributed significantly to the economy and enjoyed social respect. Artisans and craftsmen. Skilled workers organized into guilds played crucial economic roles. Coming to food and lifestyle. Brahmins, Jains, Buddhists, and Shaivas were strictly vegetarian, while other communities consumed various types of meat. Schools were built in the vicinity of temples, Hindu mathas, Jain pallis, and Buddhist monasteries. Hospitals were established near religious institutions. The Chalukyas displayed remarkable religious tolerance and patronized multiple faiths. Hinduism. Most Chalukya rulers were Hindu, predominantly Shaiva or Vaishnav. Shaivism and Vaishnavism supported both major Hindu sects equally. Shaktishan also patronized goddess worship. Built numerous Hindu temples dedicated to Shiva, Vishnu, and other deities. Jainism. The Chalukyas maintained strong connections with Jainism. Multiple rulers, including Pulakeshin II, patronized Jain scholars and institutions. Kumarpala, a later Chalukya ruler, was renowned for his significant patronage of Jainism. Built Jain temples at Badami, Cave 4, Aihole, and other locations. They supported Jain monks and poets like Ravi Kirti. Land grants, made donations of land, tax revenue, and villages to Jain temples. Buddhism. Though Buddhism was declining, the Chalukyas showed tolerance toward Buddhist institutions. Cave temples. Some cave temples at Aihole were built in Buddhist style. Buddhist elements influenced Chalukya art and architecture. Art and architecture. The Chalukyas of Badami created an extraordinary architectural legacy that represents a pivotal phase in the evolution of Indian temple architecture. Architectural style. Vesra. Developed the Vesra style by blending Nagara, North Indian, and Dravidian, South Indian, architectural elements. This experimental fusion created a distinctive style unique to Karnataka. Later influenced the Western Chalukya architecture of the 11th to 12th centuries and subsequent dynasties. The temple building activity evolved in three phases of development. Early phase, late 6th century cave temples at Aihole and Badami. Middle phase, 7th century structural temples at Aihole and Badami. Mature phase, 8th century grand temples at Pattadakal, UNESCO World Heritage Site. Rock-cut cave temples. Badami cave temples, 6th to 7th century. The four magnificent cave temples at Badami represent the pinnacle of early rock-cut architecture. Location: carved into red sandstone cliffs overlooking Agastya Lake. Basic features: pillared veranda, Mukha Mandapa, columned hall, Mahamandapa, and Sanctum Sanctorum, Garbhagriha, cut deep into rock. Cave 3 has an exact inscription date of 578 to 579 CE. Cave dedications. Cave 1, dedicated to Lord Shiva, features an 18-armed dancing Nataraj depicting 81 dance poses. Cave 2, dedicated to Vishnu with beautiful sculptures. Cave 3, dedicated to Vishnu, features Vishnu as Trivikrama, largest and most ornate cave. Cave 4, Jain cave with images of Jain Tirthankars. Artistic features. Ganas in various amusing postures carved in relief on each plinth. Intricate carvings. Detailed sculptures of Hindu deities, particularly Shiva and Vishnu. Ceiling panels. Highly ornate ceiling panels with reliefs of Garuda and Vishnu. Frescoes. Beautiful paintings on cave walls. Royal inscriptions. Placement of inscriptions next to important reliefs. Aihole cave temples. Early experiments. 3 cave temples built in Vedic, Buddhist, and Jain styles. Served as experimental ground for later refinements at Badami. Structural temples. Aihole is called as cradle of Hindu rock architecture. Aihole, established in 450 CE, features approximately 125 stone temples. Experimentation Center. Architects experimented with 16 types of freestanding temples and 4 types of rock-cut shrines. Temples date from 4th to 12th centuries CE, with major construction in 6th century. Architectural diversity showcases variety in relief sculpture and temple styles. Hindu, Jain, and Buddhist contains temples of all 3 religions. Style fusion blended Nagara and Dravidian styles to evolve distinctive Chalukya architecture. Important Aihole temples. Ladkhan Temple, multifunctional structure serving as village assembly. Durga Temple, adapted features from Buddhist halls, marking early construction foundational for future styles. Meguti Jain Temple, houses the famous Aihole inscription of Pulakeshin II. Mahakuta Temple Complex. Located 6.4 kilometers from Badami, this complex features 27 temples around a holy tank. Construction around 6th to 7th century CE. Built around a mountain spring feeding the Vishnu Pushkarni, central holy tank. Main temples, Mahakuteshwara and Mallikarjun, both dedicated to Shiva. Inscriptions, Mahakuta pillar inscription, 595 to 602 CE, and Vinpoti inscription, 696 to 733 CE. Remains an active religious site today. Architectural significance demonstrates early development of Vesra style combining Dravida and Nagara elements. Key architectural characteristics: mortar lease assembly, temples constructed without mortar. Flat roofs, many early temples featured flat roofs and pillared halls. Introduced Dvikuta, 2 shrines, and Ekkuta, single shrine, layouts. Temples typically faced east with 4 minor shrines. Designed for natural lighting and ventilation to enhance worship experience. Rock-cut halls with beautifully carved pillars. Extensive use of sculpture as integral architectural elements. Pattadakal served as the coronation city of the Chalukyas. Sacred significance. Located where the Malaprabha river turns northward, toward Kailash, considered holy. 10 temples from 7th to 8th centuries, including a Jain sanctuary. Architectural styles. 4 temples in Chalukya Nagara style and others in Dravidian style. Major temples were Virupaksh Temple, consecrated by Queen Lokadevi of Vikramaditya II. Mallikarjun Temple, consecrated by Queen Trilok Devi. Sangameshwara Temple, built in 725 CE. Papnatha Temple, exhibits hybrid style. Literature and inscriptions. The Chalukyas were instrumental in developing South Indian languages. Kannada, the state language that flourished during this period. Sanskrit, used for royal inscriptions and literary works. Prakrit, also employed in some contexts. Notable literary figures. Ravi Kirti, 7th century, stands as the most celebrated literary figure of the Badami Chalukya court. He was Jain monk, poet, scholar, and epigraphist. Served as court poet and spiritual guru to Pulakeshin II. Mastered elaborate Sanskrit Kavya style with intricate metaphors and courtly praise. Self-comparison. Declared his literary skill equal to Kalidasa and Bharvi. The Aihole inscription, 634 to 635 CE, represents one of the finest examples of Sanskrit epigraphic poetry. 19-line Sanskrit inscription at Meguti Jain Temple, Aihole. Written by Ravi Kirti in honor of Pulakeshin II. Combines historical events with mythological elements and royal praise. Crucial source for early Chalukya history and places Kalidasa before 634 CE. Composed in elegant Sanskrit with Kannada script. Contains detailed accounts of Pulakeshin II military victories, including battles against Harsha, Pallavas, Cholas, and others. Other important inscriptions. Mahakuta pillar inscription, 595 to 602 CE. Records land grants by Manglesha in continuation of grants by Pulakeshin I and Kirtivarman I. Bijapur Mumbai inscription confirms Pulakeshin II's victory over Harsha. Vinapoti inscription, 696 to 733 CE, written by a concubine of Vijayaditya in Kannada language and script. Virupaksh temple inscription records Vikramaditya II 3 conquests of Kachi. Literary development. Kannada literature existed during the Badami Chalukya period, though little has survived. Royal support. Literature enjoyed royal patronage, laying foundation for the flowering of Kannada under later Rashtrakutas and Western Chalukyas. Multiple Badami Chalukya coins with Kannada legends confirm the language was flourishing. The Eastern Chalukyas of Vengi. This dynasty represents an important offshoot of the Badami Chalukyas. Founder Kubja Vishnuvardhana, younger brother of Pulakeshin II. Initially appointed as Viceroy of Vengi, coastal Andhra Pradesh, in 615 to 624 CE after Pulakeshin II conquered the region from the Vishnukandans. After Pulakeshin II's death in 642 CE at the Battle of Vatapi, Vishnuvardhana I declared independence and established the Eastern Chalukya dynasty. Capital as Vengi, in present-day Andhra Pradesh. The Eastern Chalukyas were originally of Kannada stock. Duration and significance. Ruled from 624 CE until about the 11th century. Vishnuvardhana first assumed the title of Visham Siddhi, conqueror of difficulties, followed by his son Jayasimha I and many subsequent rulers. Notable rulers: Vishnuvardhana IV, 772 to 808 CE, had matrimonial ties with the Rashtrakutas. Eastern Chalukyas issued the first punch-marked coinage in South India before mid-10th century. Multiple factors contributed to the downfall of the Badami Chalukyas. Internal strife, succession disputes and conflicts among feudatories weakened central authority. External invasions, continuous pressure from rising powers like the Rashtrakutas and Pandyas. Loss of key territories, gradual erosion of control over outlying provinces. Weak successors. After powerful rulers like Vikramaditya II, the dynasty faced challenges from less capable leadership. Fragmented military, weakening of the military system and feudal conflicts. Final collapse, 753 CE. The end came swiftly under the last ruler Kirtivarman II. Rashtrakuta ascendancy, Dantidurga, originally a feudatory, systematically conquered outlying Chalukya territories. Surrounding strategy. Rashtrakutas surrounded the Chalukyas by conquering Telugu provinces, Kalinga, and Kosala. Pallav Rashtrakuta alliance. Dantidurga formed an alliance with Pallav Nandivarman II, isolating the Chalukyas. Southern defeat. In 750 CE, the Pandyas under Rajasimha defeated Chalukyas at Venbai. Final assault. 753 CE. Dantidurga's decisive victory marked the end of the Badami Chalukya dynasty. Rashtrakuta Empire. The Rashtrakutas established their empire with capital at Manyakheta, ruling the Deccan for the next 2 centuries. Legacy and historical impact. Political legacy. Established the model for large empires in South India, moving from smaller kingdoms to vast territorial states. Administrative innovations. Their governance system influenced subsequent dynasties including Rashtrakutas, Cholas, and Hoysalas. The Battle of Narmada established a lasting boundary between North and South India. Architectural influence. Foundation of South Indian architecture. The experimental phase at Aihole, refinement at Badami, and culmination at Pattadakal laid foundations for all subsequent South Indian temple architecture. Vaisra style. Their unique architectural blend influenced the Hoysalas, Rashtrakutas, and later dynasties. Pattadakal's designation as a UNESCO World Heritage Site acknowledges their global architectural significance. Established standardized temple plans and construction techniques that became fundamental to master craftsmen. Cultural contributions. First dynasty to give the name, Karnataka, to the region. Language development. Nurtured Kannada as a literary and administrative language. Demonstrated remarkable religious tolerance, supporting Hindu, Jain, and Buddhist traditions. Maintained diplomatic relations with Persia and other foreign powers, raising South India's international profile. Economic impact. Established extensive maritime and land trade routes connecting South India with Persia, Arabia, Southeast Asia, and China. Guild system. developed sophisticated merchant guild organizations that continued under subsequent dynasties. Naval power. Their maritime capabilities opened South India to international trade and cultural exchange. Dynastic continuity. Eastern Chalukyas. The Vengi branch continued the Chalukya legacy in Eastern Deccan for several more centuries. Western Chalukyas. The dynasty was later revived by Telapa II in 973 CE as the Western Chalukyas of Kalyani, ruling until the 12th century. Their administrative, military, and cultural achievements served as models for the Rashtrakutas, Cholas, and later dynasties.